The Acolyte. Is it as bad as everyone says? I'm going to find out by watching episode 1, so stick around to hear my conclusions. And don't forget to let me know what you think of this episode in the comments. Since this series came out, I have seen nothing but negative press about it, from the millions of condemnations on YouTube, the so-called review bombing, and an utterly disastrous press campaign.
Yes.
A general taunting of the fans,
but in my world, nerds are gay.
and a general misunderstanding of the lore.
You can't look and see that Anakin blowing up the Death Star possibly killed millions and millions of people.
On the whole, I do like the Star Wars franchise, not the prequels. I haven't been hit in the head with a shovel. I loved The Mandalorian, but I wondered if I was just excited to see the Star Wars TV show and got swept up in the hype. I enjoyed the Book of Boba Fett, but to be honest, I can't really remember too much about it. Obi-Wan Kenobi wasn't the best, but I still quite enjoyed it. But then, like many people, I started to get Star Wars fatigue. Was this due to too much content to keep up with, making it feel like homework, as I found with the Marvel franchises? Or was it simply diminishing returns in the quality storytelling, directing and acting? On both accounts, I felt it was the latter.
It's too much.
To get myself into The Acolyte, I decided to do a bit of homework, because that's what we sci-fi fantasy geeks have a terrible habit of doing before we watch the first minute of any show. I began by watching the Star Wars Celebration live and could not believe a combination of Disney and LucasArts would allow something so amateurish and sparsely thought out.
What do you want? Yes. Yeah, we'll keep it Vegas. Jody, keep.
Don't they prep these people or give them some DVDs to watch before they make grand, embarrassing statements like this?
Star Wars is very like patriarchal, so it was kind of cool to have like this sort of woman-centered figure.
This level of amateurishness would suffice at a convention or a podcast, which gives those platforms their individual charm, but not when $180 million is thrown at it.
Somebody's got some money to burn.
To start off with, the opening bar scene was okay, but I could have done without all the men being taken out so quickly due to being rubbish at fighting, right down to the one idiot who gets his gun stuck in his trousers.
Embarrassing.
Then lo and behold, Master Indara, the first female she fights, is the only one good at fighting. This would-be assassin is no match for Indara, but halfway through the fight, she is a match for Indara. Now, the way Indara dies does not add up. If she was going to stop the knife killing the barman, surely she'd know that's a trap. A Jedi Master is supposed to be intelligent, and surely that's the oldest trick in the book. Surely she'd protect herself by throwing the assassin over the banister or throwing a table at her while stopping the knife. Hell, she could even jumped over the banister herself while stopping the knife. Or she could have said, balls to the barman. Why hasn't he run away like everyone else? It's his fault if he gets killed for rubbernecking.
That's a lot of information.
So in our next scene, the same woman is Osha, who is a mechanic, which is a spaceship engineer. So, a fire in space. Is that a thing? I did some research. Apparently, you can light a match in space, so if there was oxygen coming out from underneath, there could possibly be a fire in space?
You know, if you light a match in the vacuum of space outside the spacecraft, most people think it wouldn't light. However, the head of a match has fuel and oxidizer in the tip of the match, and striking it creates heat, so the tip of a match actually would burn in outer space, but then it would quickly go out because there's no air.
Considering this scene was there for Osha to have a flashback, couldn't the fire just have been inside? There's nothing about having it outside that brought the plot forward, but I like the fact that Pip is also a fire extinguisher. So far, my favourite character is Pip. I like Pip. But I have to say the show looks impressive. They've clearly spent a ton of cash on the scenes. There's something about the Star Wars universe. You could easily sit and watch the bar scene from Star Wars for an hour and people watch without any plot. So far, I'm finding Amanda Sternberg as Woody McWood from Woodsville.
One wooden mallet.
And then along comes Charlie Barnett as Yord Fandar, who is equally wooden and expressionless. We find out that Osha was once trained as a Jedi and she's been accused of murder, so they stick her on a prison ship. We move to Croissant, where Lee Jung-jae from Squid Game plays a Jedi called Sol. Lee is clearly a great actor, and even though the scene is slow, it's a constant barrage of exposition, and Lee needed months with an English coach, he managed to make what could have been a dull 3 minutes into something tolerable. So we find Osha on the prison ship, where another prisoner discusses a prison break with her out loud so she can shout back without any repercussions.
We're planning an escape.
I applaud everyone's enthusiasm here, but that could kill us.
Now this is where it gets really stupid. They leave the prisoners with technology that can take out the pilot robots and the guy that can easily take out the lone prison robot guard with a slimy tentacle. Do they not check these prisoners before they put them on the ship? Oh, and the chances of surviving a spaceship crash from that distance and at that speed is pretty much zero.
But if you do find yourself in that situation, make sure you put your hands behind your ears, because that will soften the high-impact disaster that is about to happen.
So back on Croissant, the prisoners have been captured and Master Soul uses his Jedi mind trick to get the truth out of the prisoner who betrayed Osha.
She helped me, and I betrayed her and took the last escape pod.
Now, along with his personal experience of Osha and the testimony from the prisoner, he has more faith that she did not murder Master Indara. Finally, someone is using their brain. Not only that, but Soul actually requests to find her himself because Numbnuts the Dork Knight left her on a ship with a completely useless lone prison droid. I had a lot more to say about each scene, and a lot more that I cut out, but on reflection, I decided to stop there. My main reason for doing this was to give a fair and balanced objective review of The Acolyte. However, the quality of the show makes it difficult, and the more I wrote, the more I felt I was just criticising the show, which was not my intention. My main issues with The Acolyte are, there's too many coincidences, some of the acting is wooden, the writing feels like it needed another 10 drafts. Nothing makes me wonder what will happen next. I'm not excited about any of the plot twist. And there's no world building, it's just exposition. On a positive note, it looks great. So my verdict, is it as bad as they say? I would have to say yes, very much so. In fact, I would say it's pretty awful. So awful, I kind of enjoyed it. So will I be watching? So I will be watching and reviewing more. So what do you think? Do you agree or disagree? Please leave your comments below.